I am Gibson.
Go.
And I'm Winslow.
And we're from the Santa Barbara Middle School Teen Press, and today we're here with
David Magee.
So, David, what is your philosophy on storytelling?
My philosophy on storytelling, I think it has a lot to do with the movie that we just made. I think stories help you get through difficult times in your life and help you respond to the chaos that life can sometimes throw at you. So having those narratives, watching what other people go through in stories, whether they're books, novels, religious stories, or movies, helps you to kind of figure out how you want to live your life.
Mm-hmm. How did you find bringing this story to life into a movie, make it change and bring the characters to life more?
Well, it's a challenge because this book is told in 100 chapters, which is a lot of chapters to try and put into a film. So we had to focus on what we thought were the scenes that really told Pi's story best, and to kind of combine them and combine characters and find a continuous story rather than a bunch of cut up little bits. So that was really one of our biggest problems. Yeah, it was a challenge. But eventually it came together, and we had amazing people doing special effects to create a tiger, which I don't know how we would have done otherwise.
As a writer, did you enjoy English class as a kid?
I did. I always enjoyed writing. When I was I think in 8th grade I turned in a short story, and my teacher loved it and put it in the school newspaper and got me all excited about writing. And I did a few stories like that, but I didn't really know what I was doing, so at a certain point I got scared and stopped writing for a long time. And I came back to it years later, and I'm really glad I did. It's worked out pretty well.
Have you always preferred the genre of fiction, or are there other
well, that's interesting. I like a good story, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. I did the film Finding Neverland a few years ago, which was based on a real person's life, James Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan. But that said, we turned it into fiction in a way. We created his world of imagination, and we turned it into something kind of more creative and playful than just a regular biography. So I think that's something I prefer.
Striving to be some kind of public eccentric. Mother.
You should be aware, James, what some people have been saying. That you spend much more time with Mrs. Davis than you do with your own wife.
Have you no idea how much your friendship has cost my daughter?
What are you suggesting?
The best you've written, James.
He is a boy who stays young forever. James.
Life of Pi it's a really powerful story, and the special effects in the movie really did emphasize it too. But if you were to make the movie again with practically no budget, do you think the same message could get across?
That's an interesting question. I don't know how you do it with no budget, because even if you used real animals and real ocean, that's incredibly hard to do. But I suppose if you just did it and said, look, we're going to put this on a boat, and we're just going to put a blue-colored tarp on the ground and say that's the ocean, and dress someone as a tiger, I think you could still tell the story. When we finished the first part of the film, when we before the special effects were done, we showed it to an audience to make sure that the story was clear and understandable, and they seemed to enjoy the story of it, knowing that special effects were going to come later. But there's no way you could give it the power that it has when you see that tiger leaping over the edge of the boat at you and that sort of thing.
Did you find it a struggle, considering that the majority of the movie takes place in one location?
Yes, we did. Ang Lee, the director, did an amazing job of making that ocean and that boat feel like different locations by changing the color and the mood and the atmosphere around the characters a lot. But that was one of my big concerns when we first started working on it, that it would feel small, that it would feel confined. And because he did such an amazing job with the 3D and the visuals, it doesn't feel small at all, but that was a big concern of mine. So more power to him.
A saying at our school is "go with gratitude." Before we go, is there someone you'd like to ultimately thank for the making of Life of Pi?
Oh, well, the person I have to thank most is Ang Lee, because he gave me the opportunity to do it. He gave me he had the confidence that something that everyone else said was next to impossible was something we would do. We would simply do it, and he became a very good friend over the process of it. So he would be my #1 shout out.
Well, thanks so much.
Absolutely. Great talking to you.
meeting you.
Pleasure to meet you both.
Yeah.